Welcome to the Banana Breakdown Podcast, your inside look at all things banana ball through player interviews and game breakdowns. We're your hosts. I'm Brandon, and I like to go bananas.
I'm Sammy. I'm the life of the party.
And as always, go party animals.
Got a glove and a dream.
What a play by that kid! Oh, it's Brandon! No way! From the Banana Ball Breakdown Podcast. He and his co-host Sammy have been podcasting since the first game of the 2025 World Tour. He catches a foul ball for an out in the final game. Poetic.
You guys are outstanding.
Welcome, everyone, to the Banana Breakdown Podcast. We're doing a live stream tonight, and it's just me. It's me, your host, Sammy. I'm the life of the party, go party animals, if you're new around here. It's just me tonight. And I'm going to be chatting with Tailgaters broadcaster Brett Loftis here in a little bit. He's going to hop on in about 15-ish minutes. So you get me for a little bit. I'm going to be responding to some of your chats and talking about some of the news that just came out. But yeah, it's just me tonight. You had Brandon with all of the hosts last week. Brandon's out today. I was slacking. Brandon actually has a good excuse to being gone this time. I was watching a basketball game last week, and he had a kid. So he might have a little bit of a better excuse. But yeah, so baby's doing well. His wife's doing well. We congratulate him. Super excited for him. So he's taken some time to spend time with the family. And yeah, so super happy for him. But yeah, so I was gone just watching a basketball game last week. But yeah, so anyway, it'll be us. The plan is for us to be together again next week. And then I will be gone the week after that because my son will be born by then. So yeah, really some exciting stuff around here. So yeah, so I just wanted to here's some people and congratulations, Brandon, if you're watching the Banana Breakdown podcast community, Banana Breakdown community congratulates you. We all love you. Here's some more congrats. So yeah, if you have any questions for Brett, I already see some coming up here. I'm starring them so that I can keep an eye on them. But if you have any questions for Brett, put them in the chat so that I can ask him about that. I'm gonna be talking to him a little bit about some of the news that came out recently, with like ESPN games, the new rules that Jesse Cole talked about today, and then just a pregame show, right? Like there's 3 games this weekend. We are finally here. The season is finally here. We've got 3 games going on this weekend, and I cannot wait. We get to see the teams finally in action. We're so excited. So, all right, yeah, we got some congratulations. Big month for the podcast. Yes, very big month. Season starting and families growing. Brandon, all right, he's here. He's still here. He says thank you. So yeah, here we go. Sorry, it's hard to focus on talking and reading the chat. So I'm sorry if I miss anyone's comments. I'm going solo. Remember that. So anyway, so we are going to be talking to Brett here in the next 15 minutes. But I wanted to talk about some things before we got started. So there's some big news this week that the ESPN and Banana Ball announced some games that are going to be broadcasted on ESPN's networks this year. And so I wanted to kind of break that down. The biggest thing that I noticed, so we've got, oh man, should have counted beforehand. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17. We've got 17 games on ESPN's networks. Most of them include the Bananas, right? That totally makes sense. every team is accounted for. So every team will play a game on ESPN. That's huge for the brands, right? But the biggest thing that I noticed, there will be 3 games on ESPN networks that do not feature the Bananas. Why is that important? It's because the Bananas still, to everyone, right, it's the flagship team of Banana Ball. But the Party Animals are going to be in each of those games. But they're playing, let's see, they're playing the Coconuts, they're playing the Tailgaters, and where's that last one? Someone in the chat would know it. Oh, and yeah, okay. Can't find it. That's okay. Someone in the chat will know it. But the Party Animals are going to be, yeah, I believe it's the Clowns. So the Party Animals are going to be in each of those games. Why is that important? It's because these brands are growing, right? To everyone, the Bananas are still the thing, right? But we know there are 6 teams in this league. It is the Banana Ball Championship League now. It is a real thing. It's a real sport. And it's not just about the Bananas. And so ESPN is going to be highlighting that. There's going to be someone that tunes into an ESPN station this year only knowing about Banana Ball because of the Bananas. And they are going to look and say, what, the Bananas aren't playing? The Party Animals are playing? The Party Animals are playing the Texas Tailgaters? What's going on here? And they are going to learn about this league. And this is what's going to really grow the sport, right? It's not just, obviously there's been amazing growth through the clips that people see on TikTok, the clips people see on Instagram, whatever, right? That helps grow everything. But having it be a real game that doesn't feature the Bananas is going to be what pushes this sport to the next level. And I think that is so huge, and I can't emphasize it enough, right? I am so excited for this. Obviously, I'm excited because the Party Animals are playing, right? But this is huge for the growth. But don't worry if you don't have ESPN, if you don't don't have a cable subscription or whatever. The games will still be free on YouTube. That's what's so awesome about Banana Ball being fans first. These games, everyone will have a chance to watch. You're not gonna. There's no exclusive deals, right? It's still gonna be free on YouTube, and you get to chat with all your friends in the chat, which honestly is kind of a more fun experience, right? Like being able to just talk about the game right there in the chat. You can't do that on ESPN. So I personally like watching it on YouTube instead. But for those that are just being introduced to the sport through ESPN, it is huge, and ESPN loves Banana Ball. It's obvious. I was watching a basketball game last night. I won't talk about that game because it was extremely disappointing. If you follow me on Twitter, you know because of my tweets there. But I have the ESPN app, right? And when it goes to commercial, it kind of glitches, and before it shows the ad, it shows like this screen that's like it's currently in commercial break and has ESPN's logo and everything, and it has a bunch of sports around. And I was looking at that, and oh yeah, let's talk about this. It's also on ABC, so that's huge too. ABC is Disney owns ABC owns ESPN, so when games are shown on ABC, that's kind of like through ESPN. But ABC is a huge. That's the biggest news, right? They're going to play on ABC because people that don't even have correct me if I'm wrong here. I don't have cable or anything like that. I just stream everything. But people that don't even have cable can watch ABC with their satellite. I don't know. I'm young. I don't understand all that stuff. If I'm wrong there, I apologize, but that's my understanding, right? It's one of those main channels. So that's huge for it to be on ABC. But anyway, what I was saying was this loading screen It had a bunch of games, some basketball players, some football players, whatever. But right in the corner, I saw the bananas. It had I think it's from the documentary. It had the Banana Land thing there, and it's advertising for ESPN Plus, and so or the ESPN app or whatever they're doing these days. And I was like, no way! The banana ball, it's showing right there, right? And so that was pretty exciting. The only exciting thing about that basketball game that I watched last night. You guys can guess what game that was late last night. All right. So before Brett comes on, he's going to be hopping on in about 5 minutes. I'm going to talk to him about this. I really want to hear his take. But I want to briefly talk about the 3 new rules that were. Yes, here we go. Ding, ding, ding. We got the first chat here. Elite Eli. Hey, Eli. Happy to have you on here. The thrashing of BYU. Yes, the BYU basketball team got destroyed last night. That is the game I was watching, and I was sad, but I was happy to see Banana Ball mentioned, right? All right, so I'm going to talk to Brett about this, but I want to talk about the 3 new rules. So for those that haven't seen, Jesse Cole announced today on Instagram, he had a reel and he had a post about it where he talked about the 3 rules that are going to be implemented this season. And the number 1 rule is one we've seen before, right? It's the equalizer point. So there's been some speculation in the offseason. The equalizer point was introduced in the playoffs. The equalizer point is if the away team gets more trick plays throughout the game going into the 8th inning, if the away team has more trick plays than the home team at the end of the 8th inning, then they get an extra point going into the 9th inning. Obviously, the reason for that is the away team, just because of the way Banana Ball works, has fewer chances of trick plays. And so if they have more trick plays, then they should get the point. That's what makes it fair, right? So that we saw that in the playoff, and it was awesome. It was a huge hit. I loved it. I thought that trick plays were, they were so valuable, right? Because you get a point, and points are huge in Banana Ball because you can only get 1 per inning until the 9th inning. And so that was awesome. And you saw some cool trick plays. You saw a lot of teams tried for more double trick plays. That was kind of a big thing, right? The shortstop does a trick play, throws it to the first baseman. First baseman does a behind the back catch for an out, double trick play right there. So we got to see more of that because there was some real weight to those trick plays, right? And so that was really cool. So there was some speculation. Is that going to be this season? Are we going to see that for the entire season, or is that just a playoff thing? Well, it was announced today that is a new rule for the season. The equalizer point is we're going to see it this weekend when we watch these games. So I'm super excited for that. Brett's going to come on here soon, so I'm just going to kind of rush through these ones, but we're going to talk in more depth here in a little bit. I just realized I'm not wearing my hat. Have you guys ever seen me without my hat on? What is going on? I was supposed to wear a Party Animals hat, and I forgot to put it on because I was scrambling to get this thing ready because I've never done solo before. Anyway, so the other 2 rules, the designated fielder, that a team can, at any inning during the game, any player, any position can go out. So the designated fielder is similar to a designated runner, designated hitter. So that's a new rule. All right. So then my personal favorite was the showdown walk rule. So everyone knows that ball force sprints are huge in Banana Ball, right? You can run to it's not a walk, right? You can run to first base, you can run to second base, you can get as however far you can until every position player touches the ball and they can tag you out, right? In showdowns was a little different. It was this they were trying to figure it out. That's what's cool about banana ball. Things change, things shift, right? Oh my goodness. I just realized I never, this is so fun, right? Going live. I never sent this to Brett. All right, here we go. I never sent the link to Brett. This is hilarious. That is why he's not on. All right, everyone, I'm going to do this really quick. I'm going to talk while I do it. I'm going to send this link over to Brett. I am very embarrassed, but what are you going to do? It's a live stream. We're still going to talk about the walk in a little bit. You're going to have to wait until I send that link over. Everyone's going to laugh about this in a little bit, but right now I am stressed. I'm sending it to Brett right now. Give me 1 second. All right, we're all gonna laugh about that when Brett hops on. Thank you guys for your patience. I'm just glad I remembered. That would have been so embarrassing if, 20 minutes down, I'm like, where is Brett? I've been talking to myself for so long and he's not on. And it was all my fault. So thank you everyone for understanding. I'm having fun. I'm just kind of talking, and this has been fun so far. And so I'm having a blast. So anyway, the Showdown's ball four sprint situation was this handoff that would happen where the pitcher would have to run to the catcher would hand off the ball to the pitcher while the batter runs, and he runs around and he's trying to get home. Once the pitcher has to tag every base, once he tags third, he can throw the ball home to the catcher, and the catcher can make a play at the plate to get an out. It's kind of cool. But it ended up being something where the runner just scored anyway, and so it wasn't really interesting. It was kind of like the least interesting part of a showdown when it would end with a ball four sprint, right? So this new rule is if there is a ball four, instead of that happening, a runner gets placed on second. And now this is huge. The coach can decide if the batter goes to second or if the batter stays. And so you can't intentionally walk someone. So that's huge there. So that I'm really excited for that. And so the bases can get loaded, and that's my personal favorite new rule. But we will talk about that in a little bit. I am super excited to welcome Brett Loftis to the show. He is the broadcast entertainer for the Tailgaters. He is so fun to talk to, and we're going to be talking about some banana ball that is happening this weekend. So welcome to the show, Brett Loftis. How are you? Hey, can you hear me? I can't hear you. Let's see.
All right, you should be able to hear me now.
Yep, I can hear you.
How
are you?
I'm good, man. How are you?
Doing good. I'm just excited to watch some banana ball this weekend.
Yeah, I know, right? Inaugural weekend of the Banana Ball Championship League. I'm actually sitting here at Drake Toll's house. We were just talking about that earlier, so and clapping in the background there. Yeah. So,
hey Drake.
He says hello. Sammy says hello, Drake. Drake also says hello.
Sweet.
Biko Scout also here as well. Yeah, all three of us just hanging out, man.
Nice. That's exciting. I'm alone. Brandon's.
I see that.
Brandon
I see that you're alone.
So we're excited for him.
Yeah, we're very excited for Brandon, man. Congratulations, Brandon.
Yeah. All right. So, what are some of your thoughts going into this weekend? How have you been preparing? And yeah, what are some of your overall thoughts here?
Yeah, I'm obviously very excited to be at the Tailgaters' first football stadium, and that's going to be a cool deal. I think the unveiling of the new brands with the coconuts and the clowns is going to be really sick, and getting to see them roll out the next 2 nights. I think it's the start of the 11-game preseason, if you will, preseason that will then put you in the Banana Ball Open. So the top 4 teams, obviously, they're the best after those 11 games. So I think the preparation has been all off season. I think just really excited, and like I told you, whenever that was, December or whenever the last time we talked was, we've had Tallahassee circled for quite some time, and so happy I'm ready to get on a bus and head down there. So.
Yeah, that's super exciting. Playing in that football stadium down there is going to be awesome. So we did talk, like you mentioned, we did talk in December about some of your thoughts going into this season. But have any of your opinions on teams changed as you've watched, like the Secret Peel games, the preseason, anything like that?
Yeah, apparently Sunday, which is Drake's dog, is a big Party Animals fan. Really, really getting after it here with seeing the pink shirt. Yeah, I think that the biggest thing that has probably changed for me is I think the 2 new teams are going to be extremely competitive in the Coconuts and the Clowns. I think they obviously, the Secret Peel games, both teams won. The Coconuts won pretty handily against the Firefighters, and the Clowns with a 9th inning of 4 runs they scored there in the 9th inning. So, both of those teams are going to mash. I think a lot like the Tailgaters and Firefighters last year, they're going to get Banana Ball quite a lot this year. But I think both of those teams are going to be highly competitive, which I think this is the first year that you're going to see 2 new brands, and you're going to have this much parity amongst the 6 teams. So I think my opinion has probably changed a little bit on that. But yeah, I think as far as you look at it, I think the Party Animals is going to be really good. I don't think much is going to change there. And I think the top of the league is at least going to be them to start the year. Bananas, a lot of reloading for them through the draft. Party Animals only have 3 guys up and down the roster. So I think Banana Ball Experience is going to win the start. But I don't think necessarily once we make it towards the end of those 61 games and we make it towards the playoffs, I don't think, I think you're going to be able to throw that out of the window once everybody has a year under their belt. So, and I think the Coconuts and the Clowns, man, they have some really, really, really good ball players.
Yeah, I totally agree with that. Me and Brandon have been talking, kind of the conclusion that we've come to, and I think most people would agree, right, is that the Party Animals will win that preseason pretty handily going into the Banana Ball Open. And then once teams start to mesh, it's going to get it's going to get a lot more even as the season goes on. So excited to see that. Yeah, any thoughts on that?
What, the Banana Ball Open?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm excited for it. I think it's going to be interesting to see how teams play their hand in the preseason. In these first 11 games, like, are you going to see teams go and try to work on just stretching their arms out? You're going to see teams go for wins because inevitably, if you win the Banana Ball Open, you got to make the Banana Ball Open, right? But if you win the Banana Ball Open, you lock yourself into the postseason in October. So I think there's going to be some interesting strategies to almost be like, if we win it, we win it. But we're really worried about ramping ourselves up to get through the 61-game schedule and to get to October. Or is it going to be like we want to quickly ramp everybody up? We want to win the Banana Ball Open, want to clinch that playoff spot, and then kind of take easy street, if you will, from April moving forward to October. So I think there's, and I won't reveal whoops I think that will be. I don't want to give away any game plans, but I think there's definitely some different approaches when you look at the 6 different teams of, hey, we want to try to win off rip. And some teams are like, oh, yeah, this is called the preseason for a reason with these first 11 games. So I'm very excited about the Banana Ball Open. I think it adds in a whole new twist, especially when all 6 teams play a 61-game schedule. There are 6 teams. There are 4 playoff spots, and 1 is going to be clinched in April in Savannah. So I'm a really big fan of it. I think it's a really neat deal, and I think it gives, we talk about often as an organization what the Bananas mean to Savannah. And, we're getting to go on what we call the World Tour and getting to tour our country and getting to go play all over. But it's still cool that we get to have such major events for our sport at Grayson Stadium and really get to reward those people who live here in Savannah and around the surrounding areas that are able to come to Grayson Stadium and get to see stuff like that. So I think it's a great deal, and I think from a competitive standpoint, it's a brilliant idea. But like I said, getting to have that event in Savannah in what is really the second month of the year is really neat too.
Yeah, I'm super excited for that. I think the idea of an in-season tournament is really interesting, and one that actually has stakes, right? The NBA Cup or whatever, that doesn't mean anything to anyone because there's no stakes. But having the Banana Ball Open actually secure a playoff spot is huge. So I want to ask you this. I know you didn't want to reveal any strategy that the teams may have, but if you were a coach, how would you approach the Banana Ball Open?
Yeah, if I were a coach, that's a great question. I think for me, I want my guys to be ramped up. And when I say ramped up, I mean your arms. I want my arms to be at 100% down the stretch. But it's a playoff spot, right? So I think I would kind of take some sort of middle ground. And, because we obviously, comparative to like Major League and affiliated baseball spring training, our spring training is much more abbreviated, right? These guys pretty much get a month and a half to ramp up versus in like Major League spring training, you get almost 2 months. And you may think like, what is those extra 2 weeks? They are everything on the back end for pitchers and for arms. So I think for our guys, you want to continue to get them to see game action, and you don't want to throw a guy out there and throw him for 5 innings when in all reality he's really only ramped up to throw 3. So I would take the conservative approach of ramping up guys, but I would want to be one of the 4 teams in that Open, and I would go for it once I make it in that Open because you want to clinch a playoff spot as early as you can, right? Like that's just how it is there. So yeah, most definitely. I would make sure all my guys are good to go. And then, like I said, I want to be in that Open, though. I think that's kind of, no matter what the strategy is among the 6 skippers and the 6 coaching staff, you want to be one of those 4 teams in that Open because you want to have the opportunity to get that playoff spot. And inevitably, that gives you more opportunities to play as well, which I think for younger teams like the Coconuts and the Clowns, and when I say younger, I mean a Banana Ball experience. When you look at teams like that, I think that is so valuable and so good for those brands they can make Banana Ball Open.
Oh yeah, I totally agree with that. It's going to be really interesting to see some of these strategies, and I just can't wait. All right, I want to shift a little bit here. Jesse Cole announced today 3 rules that are going to be implemented this season. I'm super excited about these. I want to hear some of your takes. I was talking about it briefly before you came on, but it's the equalizer point, the designated fielder, and the new showdown walk rule. What we know about the equalizer point. So what are your thoughts about the designated fielder rule and then the showdown walk rule?
Yeah, man, I think the designated fielder is wonderful. We've seen it employed majorly by the Tailgaters in spring training. Sunshine has played all 7 positions behind the pitcher in spring training, and has looked good at every single one of them. Wow. And so just a little bit more clarity for those who don't know about the designated fielder. If let's just use Tailgaters for an example. If Sunshine is your designated fielder for that night, he can play second base. Travis Monroe is going to hit in the same place in the lineup as the second baseman. Travis can go back in and play second. That doesn't affect anything. Sunshine can go from second, and then Sunshine can go play left field the next inning. Let's say Zach Watson's in left. That's not going to affect Waddy with anything with re-entry rules. So the designated fielder is just that. Now, once Sunshine comes in the game to hit, the way the rule is, Sunshine no longer is a designated fielder at that point and has been, in essence, burned. But that's kind of how the designated fielder is going to work this year. As far as the showdown, the change of the showdown hit by pitch and the showdown ball four sprint, I love it. I don't know anybody who shows up to a Banana Ball game and likes to see a game ended on a showdown chase. That's how our season ended last year, and I think that was a great change made by the powers that be to implement a rule to say, hey, man, if Jake Skull walks on 4 pitches, we're just going to send Mark Smith to second, and Jake Skull is going to hit again. That's just so much that's just a better way for that to continue instead of a showdown chase. And the success rate of pitchers on showdown chases is relatively very low, right? So once you get a sprint in showdowns, man, like at that point, it's in the offense's hands to pretty much give away and the base runner at that point. So I think it's a great rule change. I'm a big fan of that one. I think the designated fielder, is a great one as well. And I think the designated fielder runs hand in hand with the equalizer point, which obviously we've seen in the playoffs last year, in which Jonathan Sunshine Looters made a big impact in that postseason to get the Tailgaters. They were the only team in the postseason last year to be awarded the equalizer point. So to peel back the curtain a little bit, we've seen 3, maybe 4 equalizer points won so far in spring training. So
awesome.
it has been the evolution of the sport is already there before we've officially touched a game yet. So teams are definitely going for it a lot more. They're going for it a lot more in those secret peel games. The Coconuts were the only team to win the equalizer point this past weekend. The Clowns nor the Tailgaters were able to win it. Again, Clowns still won the game. Tailgaters did not. Tailgaters lost by a point. So that would have been a major point if they could have won it. So I think you're going to see all 3 come into play. And I'm very excited. I think all 3 of those rules are absolutely plus in the game of banana ball.
Yeah, I was really excited about the ball 4 sprint in showdowns. When I was listening, I was watching that reel and I was listening. I was like, this is awesome. And then I was like, but wait, this could introduce intentional walks in banana ball. But then I love the aspect that the coach can decide if the batter goes, it becomes the runner at second, or if they just put a runner on second and that batter keeps batting. And I was like, okay, they have thought of everything. This is awesome. You can't intentionally walk in showdowns.
I think it's like you said, it's a great plus there. And I mean, in showdowns, typically we hadn't seen a banana ball game go past 4 showdowns. So normally those are your top 4 hitters. You're not going to want another guy to go up there in that scenario, right? You're going to want one of your 4 big dogs, or depending on what round you're in, depending on who you've burned so far, you're going to want that guy to be able to hit. And I think it's great that he or she does not have to go stand on second.
Yeah, I did have one question. In the round 3 of showdowns, when the bases are loaded, I can't remember if Jesse mentioned this in the reel or not. Will that just be an instant win if there's a ball 4 not an instant win, because you have to get. So what would happen in that situation if the bases are loaded?
Great question, Sam. I don't know.
Okay.
I've talked through the rule with Josh and Lefsky a good bit. Josh may be able to answer that question for you. The way I would interpret the rule, I don't even want to say that, because, again, I mean, my interpretation of the rule and the actual rule itself may be totally different. I don't know if we've ever seen a ball 4 sprint with the bases loaded in banana ball.
I was just thinking that. Yeah.
So, and if we have, it was before my time and before any of the games I've watched before my time. So it's a great question. I will have to get clarity on that myself, because that is the one part of the rule that I have yet to understand. I do have Josh Lefsky's rule book handy dandy here on my computer. So if I figure that out when I get off of here, I will surely pull that from the rule book and send it to you.
All right, so that sounds good to me. Yeah, that was just my biggest question.
No, that's a great question. I mean, hey man, if you could ever ask me a question I don't know the answer to, that means it's a good question, Sammy. So that's a really good question. I personally hadn't even thought about that with the rule yet. So that's a really good question.
Yeah, that'll be interesting to see what happens there. And we may never even see that situation, because, like you said, I don't remember seeing a ball 4 chase in a round 3 of showdown. So we'll see. It's bound to happen at some point, but it'll be interesting to see. All right, I wanted to transition here to this weekend slate of games and some of your thoughts here. We'll leave the Tailgaters game for last, because obviously that's the last one of the weekend, and I want to hear the majority of your thoughts on that one. Let's just kind of run through some of your thoughts here. Thursday, the Firefighters are going to host the Coconuts at Dick Hauser Stadium. What are some of your thoughts on that matchup?
Man, I love the Coconuts lineup. Like I know I've said it already. The Coconuts and the Clowns, they can mash, man, and they're going to be really, really, really good lineups this year. Even in innings and games where they lose, I don't foresee too many games where they don't put up a lot of runs. Now, points, totally different story, right? But runs, I think both lineups are going to produce a lot of innings where they score in. It is about securing that point, obviously, as we know in banana ball. I love the Coconuts pitching rotation, especially when you look at Drake Fontenot, who they took second overall. They're the first ever Coconut, that was their first pick that they had. And then Andy Archer, poaching a guy from the Bananas, getting some veteran banana ball experience in that clubhouse with a guy who's played on the biggest stages in the yellow. Now having him and having those two guys you can roll out as your two big dogs in your starting rotation. I also love the back end of that bullpen for the Clowns. CJ Williams was electric last year as a visitor, and I absolutely love him as the closer there for Loco Beach. Like we're talking about a dude who has that like Drew Gillespie type mentality. Like he doesn't care about anything once he gets out there on the bump in the ninth, and he also has the stuff that is as good as Hosley or John Reed or Gillespie or Ben Dunn, right? Like when you look at some of your top closers in the sport, I think CJ Williams is going to make a name for himself and is going to insert him into those types of conversations with Hosley and Gillespie very early on. On the flip side of that, man, the Firefighters, it's really interesting to me because they got some big dogs when it comes to pitching. Jared Donaldson in the draft. You got Ben Dunn back. Johnny Hummel's great in spring training. Javon Ray worked a lot in offseason. They got him back in the 5th round in the draft. I really like what I'm seeing there. Eric Jones Jr. from an offensive standpoint, when they took him in the 1st round, I thought it was a good pick, right? But after seeing him in spring training, what he's been doing at first, trick plays. Shocker, Eric Jones Jr. is good at trick plays at first. Everybody who watched the Savannah Bananas last couple of years has known that. But seeing what he's been able to do with that infield now that he has with the Firefighters, electric. He's been mashing banana balls. That lineup 1 through 9 is a really solid lineup. I think a bat that I want you to watch out for, newcomer Darren McDowell. He's looked really solid in spring training. Big time arm from right field. I know you didn't ask me to do this, but if I did have to do this, I do think the Coconuts will win Thursday night, though. And I do think that'll be obviously first game, first win in Loco Beach history. And I do think the Firefighters will get a win. I wouldn't want to put a scoring prediction on it, but I think it'll be a lower scoring game. And I think CJ Williams will come in and shut the door in the bottom of the ninth. And I think it'll be a 1-point game. And I can really see that game going either way, but I think we're talking 2-1, 3-2 type of banana ball game between Loco Beach and the Firefighters. But the Firefighters, they got some arms, and if they run into a few out there to right field, I mean, who knows? We're talking 207 down the right field, or excuse me, that's the football stadium. They hadn't made it there yet, so sorry. You see where my mind has been. And we're playing at the football stadium. They're at the baseball stadium. So I've been locked in to the football stadium this week and getting to know all about that. But yeah, I think obviously playing at a baseball stadium. I think it'll be a really good banana ball game, low scoring banana ball game, but I think Loco Beach will get the win. I really do.
All right. Yeah, I'm super excited to watch that one tomorrow. I love how you brought up Eric Jones Jr. there. I had him as my pick for the best offensive player for the Firefighters this year. The most we did kind of our picks a few weeks ago of like most likely player on each team to win MVP, pitcher of the year, most trick plays, stuff like that. And that was my pick. And I think Eric Jones Jr. is huge for the Firefighters. But yeah, it'll be interesting. I'm really excited for that game. All right, let's move on to Friday. We've got the Party Animals hosting the Clowns again in that baseball stadium in Tallahassee, Dick Hauser Stadium. What are your thoughts there, and why will the Party Animals win?
I mean, they didn't. They didn't last Saturday.
I know.
That was one of the craziest banana ball games of all time. Party Animals go into the night. Be on the lookout for all the non-K Club members that are not able to watch the Secret Pill game. Drew Gillespie has an electric entrance this year. And I'm not going to give away too much more than that. But Drew Gillespie, electric entrance this year. Danny Hosley, also much of the same. And we'll more than likely see that Saturday night. So very, very cool closer entrances. Just a little Easter egg for you guys. So Gillespie's coming out. I forget if they had a 1 point or 2 point lead. I believe it was a 2 point lead. And they go into the ninth, and you're like, man, it's Drew Gillespie. He's one of the best pitchers in the sport. I mean, he was, finalist for Pitcher of the Year for a reason last year. Been done, by the way. Firefighter who won it. Another good addition, or another guy who's back with the Firefighters, who's just, with all those other additions, a great pitcher rotation. But anyway, when you look at Drew, you're like, man, there's no way. Get a guy on, and Joe Lytle comes up as a golden batter, backside home run, ties the game up. Bobby Leday, the second-round pick to shortstop, who was my prediction to go 1.1. Didn't know Jackie Bradley Jr. existed when we made those predictions for the draft. Bobby Leday comes up, yah off of him. Later in the inning, Lytle's position came back around in the lineup to hit, and Joe hits a triple, and 4 for 6 now and just hit for the cycle. So I say all that to say, I do think the Party Animals will win. I love this Party Animals roster. And the additions that Vava brought in, that's not guys from last year. Mikey Ballard's a dude, man. We talked about it during the draft. He played with, Acuff and Eckerd, and then Acuff transferred to Rollins. And then, Mikey finished up his last year in 2020, his last 2 years of college baseball at Louisiana Tech, a Division I school. And he's, hitting top 5 of their lineup, which was one of the best offenses in Division I baseball in 2024. He's a dude. Had a really good year last year, hit just below 300 with the Florence Y'all's independent league team. His teammate in Florence last year, TJ Reeves, who spent 3 games with the Party Animals 2023, all that guy does is hit. That's all he does. One of my good friends played for Florence Y'all's last year, and he was a guy that played for a team I was with in the Northwoods League a few years ago. I called him during the draft process, and I said, hey, man, tell me about TJ Reeves. Quote for quote, he said, all he does is hit. And that's all he's done in spring training. We obviously haven't kept official stats in spring training, but I'd be willing to bet a lot of money. And I don't bet, Sammy. I'd be willing to bet a lot of money that TJ Reeves has led Banana Bowl in hits in spring training. Like, the guy is just a hit machine. Every time he goes up there, he's putting one in the gap. He's flailing a single out. He's going to get you a triple. I mean, he's got gap-to-gap power, and the barrel just always seems to find the Banana Bowl when he's in the box. Everybody else, right? John Howard Bobo, the entertainment player they added, great musician. He's even hit a little bit too. But everybody else outside of that, and everything that they've done before, they continue to do in spring training. So I think, contrary to tomorrow night on Thursday night, I think Friday night will be a very high-scoring affair. I'm thinking probably 6-4 Party Animals. I think there'll be some runs and some points that'll translate to points in the ninth. But I think the Party Animals win it by two points. But I think it'll be a really good ball game, and I'm really excited to see the rotations. Everybody knows about the Party Animals rotation. It's pretty much the same exact pitching rotation, obviously with the addition of Dylan Porter, who, wasn't in Banana Bowl last year, but had been previous 2 years in 23 and 24 with the Party Animals. So I think the Clowns have a really good rotation too, man. 2 guys I really want you guys to look out for Friday night is David Griffin. He was, besides Chris Clark, my favorite right-handed pitcher in the draft. I think the dude's disgusting. He throws 5-6 different pitches. He reached AAA with the Mets. I mean, he was a phone call away on about 2 or 3 different occasions from getting called up and playing for the New York Mets and being a big leaguer. Like, he's a dude. And then Nick Wilson, 3rd-round pick for the Clowns, Team USA guy when he was in college, was teammates with Christian Davis and Taj Porter at Southern University. And those 2 guys just don't have enough good things to say about him as a human being. I spent a lot of time with Nick on the boat. Love him. And he's an awesome human being. He's going to end up being one of the spokespeople for that brand. He just gets it, man. He gets the history of the Indianapolis Clowns. He gets Banana Ball. Oh, and by the way, he's actually a really good pitcher too. Shocker, right? So he just gets it. But the name we hadn't mentioned yet that I'm sure you're wondering about, Jackie Bradley Jr. Sammy, I couldn't wait to tell you the story. I was hoping we were going to get to the Clowns.
All right,
so
go for it.
Last week, actually, let's go back. This is during one of the spring training weekends. I think this was about a week before we went on the boat. And the Clowns, whoever, they weren't scrimmaging us. I called the first and the third game of the scrimmages, and the Clowns were the second game of the scrimmages. So I'm walking around, just talking to some of the Clowns, getting their story during the scrimmages that are on the side. They're scrimmaging the Coconuts. That's right. They're scrimmaging the Coconuts. And I'm just down there. I talked to a bunch of coconuts, moseyed on over to the clown side, talking to a lot of the clowns. And I started talking to Jackie. We start chopping it up. He played in South Carolina and played in Greenville and Hawaii for the drive. And I grew up 50 minutes from Greenville, South Carolina. So we just get to talking. And he starts talking about some restaurants in Savannah and some that he'd been to. And we got to talking. I told him about a restaurant. It was really good in Savannah. So he's like, hey, man, like, cool. I was like, yeah, Jackie, we should go sometime, right? Like, we should go. And I'm just thinking, like, oh, he's Jackie Bradley Jr., right? Like, what's he got to do with going and having dinner with the Tailgaters broadcast, out of all things, right? Mind you, Sammy, and I'll get to it. This is a guy that I adore. Like, this just isn't some random major leaguer to me. Like, this guy I adored growing up. So that was on like a Saturday. So 8 days later, we're in Tampa in the hotel the day before we're going on the boat. And so on Banana Land at Sea. And we're in the lobby. We've been in the hotel for like an hour or two. We're kind of all hanging out in like this lobby bar area of the hotel we're staying at. Jackie's down there. It's a bunch of our guys, just a bunch of banana ball guys in general. And Jackie looks at me and goes, hey, B, when are we going to? And he said the restaurant. He goes, that's not too far from where I'm living at. And I was like, what? This was a week plus prior. He then remembers that I was the one that said he was going with. So get off the boat, see him at the field after we get off the boat. He's like, hey, man, family's in town. We should really do dinner this week. Third time now he's approached me about it. Text me. We end up going, man. And it was a really sick experience getting to sit down with Jackie, his lovely wife, Miss Erin, and their 4 children. And we had a great meal and just getting to talk to him and pick his brain. And it was funny enough. I was like, Jackie, I'm really not trying to fanboy. Like, I really appreciate you, inviting me to dinner. I said, I remember watching an opening day when you were with the Red Sox, wearing number 44, which he would later obviously change his number to 19. I said, because I followed him, man. Like, I was never a Gamecock fan growing up in the state of South Carolina. But they went back-to-back College World Series, and Jackie's the most outstanding player in 2010 College World Series. Yeah. And he gets drafted by the Red Sox. Then he's playing in Hawaii for the Greenville Drive. I'd go watch him play. I mean, it's literally the closest minor league team to me growing up was the Greenville Drive. So I'd go watch him play. And then he makes it to the big leagues. I remember watching opening day and how big of a deal that was for us South Carolinians when he made it and made the Red Sox roster, the opening day roster in 2013. And I was just telling him all this. And it was so cool to get to sit there and he left me with something I thought was so profound. He was like, Brett, I know that I've already accomplished pretty much everything I want to accomplish playing baseball. He said, I'm here to uplift these guys and help these guys however I can. And he just gets it, man. He just gets it. And he's a great human. He's a great husband. He's a great father. And he's a great guy to have here in Banana Ball. And I say all that saying to tell you that great story about my good friend now, Jackie Bradley here, to tell you that that's the guy that is just such a great human to have in that locker room. It really helps steering the ship. And when you have a former big leaguer and that great of a human, but also gets what we do here in Banana Land, in that locker room, they're going to be just fine this year. And they got Carell Prime in that locker room, who I spent a lot of time with Sunday night, who's just an amazing human being as well. They got a lot of young guys, like we mentioned, Bobby Leday, Jalen Vasquez, Cowboy Joe Gray Jr. Like, their roster is filled up and down. But having that leadership at the top with Jackie and Carell Prime is going to do that roster wonders this year. And I'm so excited to see the revival of the Indianapolis Clowns this year. And really, one last thing I'll tell you about the Clowns, and I'll shut up before I say too much. Their intro is going to make you feel something. Their intro is entertaining. Their intro does the history right. It informs you. I had chills, man. Like, Saturday watching it, it was the first time I'd seen it. I hadn't been in their entertainment or OTT meetings or anything like that. But seeing that moment of them running out of that gate, the first time that the Indianapolis Clowns had played in front of fans since 1989, the chills that I got. I mean, I teared up. And Friday night is just going to be maybe the coolest thing we've ever done as an organization and as a sport. And with the guys that they have representing that brand, they couldn't have a better group of guys. It's an awesome locker room. Just cannot tell you enough. I did a panel with the Clowns, 2 panels with the Clowns and the Crews. They're a fun bunch, but they get what they're representing and they get our sport. And it's gonna be a lot of fun to watch them in 2026.
Man, that story, that's amazing. Having dinner with Jackie Bradley Jr. and what I couldn't stop thinking about was, like, the talent level is there with these players, but we've talked to so many players, and I've had the privilege of chatting with some guys, and the talent, the baseball talent, the banana ball talent is there, but I don't know how the organization does it, but it's like they just get the right guys all the time that can represent what banana ball is all about. Like we had we've had a ton of new guys onto the podcast recently to introduce them, and it's just like, wow, you're perfect for banana ball. And Jackie Bradley Jr. just sounds like he's that, like, he's a major league player, but he understands what banana ball is about, like the purpose of it, right? And the fans first element, the uplifting element, and it's like the organization can't miss with these guys. It's just it's been amazing to see.
Yeah, it's awesome, man. I love that roster. I love the Loco Beaches roster, and I think couldn't hit more two bigger home runs as an organization with the two new brands we're getting to roll out, and I'm so excited about it.
Yeah, me too. All right, I promise I won't keep you for too much longer, but
I know you can't, Sammy. Drake and Vico left to go to dinner, so I'm just at Drake Toll's house by myself. So it just gives me more of an excuse to sit here. So I mean, really.
Sweet. So we got to talk about the game of the weekend on Saturday. The Bananas will host the Tailgaters in Doak Campbell Stadium in Tallahassee, Florida. Football stadium for the Tailgaters. What are your thoughts going into that game?
Man, I'm really excited. The Bananas won 4-3 this past Sunday in the secret pill game against the Tailgaters. Really good ball game. If the ending to Saturday's game between the Clowns and the Party Animals was one of the craziest ninth innings in the history of banana ball, one of the craziest first innings in the history of banana ball, in that game between the Tailgaters and the Bananas, there were 11 runs scored in that first inning. The Tailgaters put up a 7 spot in the top of the first, and then the Bananas put up a 4 spot and 3 home runs. Jordan Barth, which is a guy I'm really high on, obviously was our third-round pick for a reason, or second-round pick, pardon me, was our second-round pick for a reason. He goes yard. Indiana Stanley hit one that landed in the Atlantic Ocean, I think. And then Max Young Goldberg, who was the pick right after Jordan Barth by the Bananas, he hit one into the wind, and it was a stupid power. I hadn't seen too many baseballs or banana balls be able to go into the teeth of the wind, and then he hit it over the fan wall. I mean, stupid pop from Max Young Goldberg.
Crazy.
Obviously, we ended up losing the game. I think one of the same issues that kind of was an issue for us last year was a big reason because of it. 7 ball 4 sprints issued out by the Tailgaters pitching staff Sunday, only 2 strikeouts. And when you're putting guys on, you're giving them, a free bag, if not 2 free bags with ball 4 sprint. Those are inevitably going to come back to bite you. So I think the Tailgaters, if they can limit ball 4 sprints, man, they can beat anybody. And I know that sounds cliche. I know that sounds like an obvious, like, analyst broadcaster talk, but it's the truth. Like, if the Tailgaters cannot give guys free bases, they have the arms and the talent to get guys out. They have the lineup 1 through 10. I mean, I've talked about how good the other teams' lineups are, and they are. But I'd put the Tailgaters lineup against any team in banana ball, and that's something me and Biko have talked about a lot. And Biko said it, and I wouldn't speak for him, but he's really spoke a lot of high praises. A lot of people around the organization speaking a lot of high praise about this lineup. And when you look at it, man, what the projected lineup is, you insert Kyle Martin into this lineup, 275 career professional home runs. When you insert a guy like Jordan Barth into this lineup, who's hit 2-3 home runs already in spring training, who hit 19 home runs in independent ball last year. When you insert Jose Gonzalez into this lineup, who was playing in Double-A in the Astros organization last year, you just add so much, And I think we don't talk about enough about the guys that we did bring back. Travis Munoz, I was talking to him today at the cage. He's worked on his right-handed swing so much this year. Being a switch hitter, in essence, you want to be equal from both sides. You don't want to have a strong or a weak side. Taj Porter, switch hitting catcher for us. he's worked a lot on the right side. Nick Lopez, right? He hit 352 last year. So I don't think we got to worry about Loki as a switch hitter. Our lineup is just so deep. And then the arms that we added. I mean, we only franchised 2 arms. So we knew we were going to have an arm-heavy draft. And Chris Clark's the real deal. I'm excited. You know, he's our probable starter for Saturday night. So I'm excited to see him pick up the ball and twirl it for the Tailgaters first time. I mean, this is a dude, we talked about David Griffin. Chris Clark was a Rule 5 draft pick. And for those that don't know what a Rule 5 draft pick is, simplify it. It's a guy who's not on the 40-man roster and can be in this Rule 5 draft. Another team takes you thinking that you're going to break big league camp as a big leaguer. And the Seattle Mariners did that with Chris Clark. Just barely missed the big league camp, but was 3, 4, 5 different times. If one guy got hurt, Chris Clark was going to be called up with the Chicago Cubs. And this type of dude now that we have a banana ball. And Reese Miller throws the single nastiest pitch in the whole league. And Denny Hosley, Lord knows how infatuated I am with that Vulcan change. I think Reese Miller, who will be one of our 2 closers this year, his slider, oh my gosh, Sammy, it looks like he's throwing a Frisbee. It legitimately looks like he's throwing a Frisbee. I love this roster that we have. You know, we got some familiar faces back. Brett Sanchez, Donnie Allen, visitors from last year. Jonathan Hughes, love him. I mean, he's Braves, Phillies farm hand. 2nd-round pick out of high school, but chose to go play at Georgia Tech. Was really good at Georgia Tech. Was teammates there with Andy Archer for a little bit of time. So this draft, man, we just pro-built draft, right? We're this pro-built team, right? That's who the Tailgaters are going to be this year. On the flip side of things, the Bananas look the same-ish, right? Like, they got 11 new guys in there. You still have your core. I really, Max Young Goldberg, he might have been my favorite position player on the board besides Bobby the Day. I was infatuated with him in the draft process. He's only proved me right. He's hit 3 pumps in spring training. And I'm not just talking about wall scrapers. Like, he's taking some daddy hacks up there, Sammy. Max Young Goldberg, you know, they're projected starting first baseman this year. He's a dude. All your usual suspects look really, really good. Easton Parrish, who will be kind of the backup catcher, first baseman, DH. Really like his swing. He's looked very good. He's had a couple pops in spring training as well. Bryce Grizzaffi, though, the guy I want Bananas fans to watch out for. He's a super util guy. He's kind of like the 2nd, 3rd string catcher. He can play any position in the infield. He can play any position in the outfield. Love this guy, man. Like, I love this dude. We got a video coming out. Can Biko strike out the broadcast? And so we filmed it last night. Biko's pitching, and you know we're stepping in the box. And to tell you the type of human that Bryce Grizzaffi is, we filmed this right after the Bananas got done with their practice yesterday, and Bryce stayed for an extra hour and 15 minutes to just catch Biko. That's the type of dude we're talking about with Bryce Grizzaffi. A big fan of this guy. He's really impressed me in spring training. However, I think the secret weapon of this Bananas offense is going to be JT Sokolov, who's the designated runner. Oh my gosh, Sammy. He stole 5 bajillion bags in spring training. Like, he's such a fast guy, but his base running IQ is insane. The way he gets his secondaries, the way he knows what pitches, what counts to steal on. JT Sokolov might steal 70 bases this year, and I would not be surprised. I told him the other day, I said, if you don't steal 50, I'm going to be extremely disappointed in you. He is going to be, I think, their X factor when it comes to their offense this year. We know about their lineup. It has not changed for the most part. But Sokolov as their designated runner is special. I think no different than for us, Trey Jones coming back and being our designated runner. I think those, and this is no disrespect to any of the 4 teams, I think those are 2 best designated runners in the whole league, and I think they're going to prove their worth over the span of the year. On the pitching side of things for the Bananas, they got the best left-handed pitcher in the draft in Austin Drury. And, you know, they took him 4th overall. He's really impressed in spring training. Frankie Moscatello has been really, really good. But it's the guys that they took in the late round, Sammy. Jacob Bozzella, dude, got him in the 9th round, I think. Alan Sathoff, oh my gosh, I don't think he's given up a base runner. He hasn't given up. He's been lights out in spring training. It's the guys that they got late and they were able to snag late, and now they just look like these gems, which just proves the brilliance of Tyler Gillum and Adam Byron. they have looked really, really strong. And I think, right now it'd be hard to argue that Bananas team, man, if you got the Party Animals at 1, the Bananas have to slide in right behind them in your power ranking. However, I give you the previews about both teams. I think my Texas Tailgaters get it done. They're a team. They love to put the ball in the air, 207 feet down the right field line. We are going to see a lot of home runs. I was asked today by our skipper, Joe Mikulik, over-under on home runs if I had to establish that for Saturday. I said 6.5, and I would take the over on that. I think there's going to be a lot of home runs. I think, Kyle Martin, who's this big lefty, I wouldn't be surprised if Kyle doesn't hit 2 or 3. I wouldn't be surprised if Jose Gonzalez hits 1. I think KJ could get one out. Ryan Cox's swing has looked really good. When you look at guys from the left side, Jackie hit a home run in a football stadium last year, Jackie Jackson Olsen. So I think your lefties are going to have a field day. But Tailgaters BP today, just peel the curtain back a little bit. I've never seen a Tailgaters batting practice where so many righties are trying to go opposite field. And they're already thinking about that short right field porch. So, and I think much the same for the Bananas. So you're going to see a lot of home runs. I think, not too many pitchers are going to be happy after Saturday night with the fact of how many runs that, they're going to concede. So it's going to be a lot of fun to watch. And, I'm really excited. But I think it'll be a high run scoring game, but I don't think it'll be a high point scoring game because I think so many innings will just end like 4-4. And that'll be what it is. So I think the Tailgaters will win a close one. We'll call it 4-3. I think will be the final Saturday night in Tallahassee.
All right. I'm excited for that. I love what you mentioned there with there's going to be a ton of home runs. We had a funny conversation with Reese Lexiadis a few weeks ago. He hit that forget which stadium it was last year, but he hit that home run in the football stadium to the the far wall, and it was like
he hit it poolside, man. In Nashville.
In Nashville, that's right. And so he was joking about football stadiums and saying he's the one that's actually hit a real home run in the football stadiums. And
I got a funny story for you about Reese Lexiadis.
All right.
I'm sure the people will love this. So we're on the boat. And if you were on Banana Land at sea with us, Sunday, Drake's dog is just trying to eat my hand all up. Sunday, I'm trying to tell a story right now. We're on the boat, and we host trivia. So we had trivia 3 nights that also coincided with the theater show. So we had 6 broadcasters on the boat, and the 4 broadcasters from last year, myself, Zach Staten, Josh Talevsky, Vico Scala, Drake Toll, 5 broadcasters. I meant with the 4 teams. And then Jose Benitez, our new Spanish-speaking broadcaster with Banana Ball. So 4 broadcasters were going to go to trivia, and then 2 would go to the stage show. So I had the first and third. Me and Drake went to the stage show on the second night. We had the trivia. We had trivia on the first and third night. Third night, I'm walking to trivia, and I see Reese Alexianos. And I say what's up to him, whatever, talk to him for about 5 minutes. And he's like, "Oh, what you got going on tonight?" I'm like, "Well, I'm hosting trivia." He's like, "Oh, I'll see you there." I don't think much of it. Reese wasn't in the stage show, so he wanted to come to trivia. And, that was one of the other big events that was going on. And if you've already seen the stage show, you're probably going to go to trivia, right? So I don't see him in the lounge. Once we get up there, we do trivia. So at the end of 4 rounds, 16 questions, we'll tally it up. And there's this team that's in the lead. And I call out the name of the team. And these group of 11 and 12-year-old boys erupt. And I'm like, we have all these banana ball, mega fans in the room, all diehards of the sport. And no disrespect to these young men, but how could they beat all of these adult fans in the room?
Yeah.
Kind of making a semicircle around this table here. As they start celebrating, it's almost like Moses parting the Red Sea. They separate a little bit, and there's Reese Alexiadis, who's on their team.
Oh, my gosh.
No wonder, right? It's better, though, Sammy. Our bonus question was, there were I forget, 11 or 14. I think it was 14. There's 14 players who hit home runs in the Clemson and Charlotte football stadium games last year. Can you name the 14 players? And I said, well, you guys get a freebie because one of us he's already in the room with us. He homered in all 4 football stadiums last year. He selects the odds. And so they only got 11 of the 14 right, which unironically enough with Reese, he comes up to me last week and he's like, hey, man, did we get all 14 of them right? I'm like, no. I said, you only got 11. He goes, I only got 11? He goes, no, I got all 14. I go, no, you only got 11 right. I said, yeah, you had a freebie because you wrote yourself down. Like, you only had to get the other 13.
Yeah.
He just busted out laughing. But, yeah, that was one of the funnier moments on Banana Land at Sea. Reese Alexiadis coming to trivia with a group of 12 and 13-year-olds and winning trivia by a lot. So,
oh my goodness,
yeah,
that is hilarious. That picture of just him with all those kids is just perfect. You don't see that anywhere else in professional sports, right? Like it's amazing the fan experience. What was the cruise like? We obviously we weren't there. How was that? What were some of your takeaways from that experience?
Man, it was a lot of fun. I think, we didn't travel all of our front office staff. We probably traveled, 40, 50%. Obviously, the majority of the players, there were a few players who were not there, but, 95% of the players were on the boat. So it was really cool. We had this lounge that only our Fans First Entertainment employees could go into. And it was so cool every night when you'd go in there. And, like one night I'd be eating with Ben Parker and Gideon Antle and the entire Coconuts. And then the next night I'd be sitting there eating with Jackie Bradley Jr. and his mom. And then, the next meal I'm going to, I'm eating with Kyle Louise and, Easton Parrish and all the Bananas. And then the next meal I'm eating with my guys, right? I'm eating with the Tailgaters. And it was really neat. The time that you got to spend with those guys, especially for us as a broadcaster, getting to know them, I think is really important. And that was the coolest part for me. My favorite part of the whole boat, though, happened on the fog day. So for those who don't know, we embarked on this journey on Monday, February 9th. We were supposed to disembark on this journey on the morning of Friday, February 13th. They tell us the night before, hey, guys, we know you're supposed to be able to start getting off the boat at 7:30. It might be 8:30 now, though. No big deal. Like, cool. An hour. That's whatever. That's fine. Wake up the next morning. Like, hey, 8:30 is turning to 10:30. Oh, that's all good. That's all good. All right. 10:30 turns into 12:30. 12:30 turns into 2. Yada, yada, yada. So at that point, we all go into like, okay, well, if everybody's got to be stuck on the boat, like we got to entertain our fans, And the broadcasters, we started hosting a panel, just doing different panels. So Biko hosted a bunch of panels, and then I hosted a panel with the Tailgaters, and then the one after that was with the Indianapolis Clowns. And so had a lot of fun with our guys. But my favorite part of the whole boat was getting to know the Indianapolis Clowns and getting to do their panel. They got a lot of characters on that team, and they got a lot of guys who make you laugh. They got a lot of guys who make you think. They got a lot of guys who will just get to know that roster. And it was basically comedy hour. Like me and Joe Gray and Nick Wilson are just sitting here on this table in the entire – we're in the theater of the boat. And every other clown is just sitting on the front of the stage. So we're just semicircle surrounded by clowns. And me, Joe Gray, and Nick Wilson to my right and my left, they're sitting up there with me. And it was so cool, man, because – you get to learn about each one of these guys. And a lot of the fans maybe, had met them on the boat. But it just kind of, to me, it was we just laughed so much during that. And we're just cutting up so much. And I just thought to myself, like I had this epiphany in the moment, like, man, this is a bad day for a lot of people. Like a lot of people have had to cancel their flights. A lot of people have had to get hotel rooms now in Tampa once we get back because, we didn't end up getting off the boat until 11 p.m., 12 a.m., and I mean, me personally, I was going to Daytona to go Daytona 500 with my mom and dad, and I'd had this planned out for a while. And so, that pretty much wiped the whole day for me. It personally affected me. But I just thought to myself as I was doing those panels with the Tailgaters and the Clowns, these days have been so rough on all of our fans, on a lot of our staff, but we somehow still find a way to entertain and still have fun and still be able to smile and laugh and do the same for others. And that really was just what our organization was all about, right? Like it's really what our organization is all about, even in a time like that. Even in a time where you got to spend an extra 17 hours on a cruise ship, Sammy, because of fog. Mind you, the people we were working with 6 Man, which is a great group of people to help us out with their entertainment on the boat. 6 Man, they do different cruises with like singers and comedians and like they had a Clint Black cruise right after us, who's a really good country musician, and they've done like Burt Kreischer cruises and stuff like that, just to give you kind of the idea of 6 Man. They told us they've been doing these cruises for 12 years. They had never, ever, ever, ever not docked on time, and they had never been delayed due to fog.
Wow.
But that was on Friday the 13th, Sammy. So I'm thinking there's something up with that. But that was still a cool deal, man. And it was just a lot of fun to see everybody, see our organization and the members of our organization who were on that boat come together and still have a good time despite what was going on. So that was really neat.
That's sweet. Glad you guys are all safe and were able to finally dock.
The fog lifted. It lifted, man. It just whew, right here it went, man.
But what better for it to never happen before. I think Banana Ball is probably the best case scenario, best organization for that to happen to. You guys were prepared. I had a crazy fog experience on the plane, but it's a whole other story. Do you want to hear it? Might as well.
It seems like it's just clouds. You're right. Like you'd think it's just clouds.
Like if you just go for the visibility thing, I'm thankful that the pilot was safe. I'm glad I didn't crash. Like just go down a little farther and maybe you'd be able to see the runway. But I'm flying into Provo from Mesa, and he can't see the runway, and he's circling, and then all of a sudden, without any warning, because he didn't mention it to us, we go just straight back up, and I'm like, oh no, what's going on? And he finally, like 20 minutes after going, like just not descending anymore, he's like, all right, I couldn't see the runway. We were going to run out of fuel if I kept circling. So we are going to stop in Idaho Falls to refuel. And so we flew Mesa to Provo is supposed to be like a 50-minute flight.
Right.
And we flew all the way to Idaho Falls, had to refuel, and then go back. We had to just stay on the plane, right? It didn't get off. And then again, we finally get back to Provo, and again, he's circling. I never get motion sick, but I'm like now feeling it, like as I've been on the plane for way too long. We finally land. I'm feeling like I'm trying not to puke. I'm not thinking about my son, I think he was a year and a half at that point. And he just, right as we land, just pukes everywhere. And this is the worst ending to this flight, like absolute disaster. But yeah, that was a few years ago. You weren't wondering about that, but that's everyone has a fun fog story. Yeah,
it's a good story.
All right. Well, I don't want to keep you for too much longer. I appreciate your time here tonight. Do you have any more? We had a ton of questions here from the chat, but you pretty much covered all of them, which I appreciate. Do you have any more? Anything else you want to tell the fans, before this weekend?
ESPN. Pretty. I know you touched on it a little bit. That's obviously a big deal for us. An announcement. I've been excited to go out. This weekend will be on ESPN, the ESPN app, and Disney Plus. So very excited about that. And as always, our games are always free on YouTube. This weekend will be the Banana Ball YouTube channel, and moving forward will be the home team's YouTube channel. So very excited about our broadcast this year. AJ Swiatek, he's the voice of the Coconuts. Very excited about the addition of him. He's fitting seamlessly, and a guy that I've known for about 3 years now. We got some good dudes. Obviously, Jesse put out his video about a month ago now, talking about everything that's been invested into the broadcast and off season. And it's I'm very excited about that, and very excited that we have 30 home games this year. So excited to be on the call for all those, and excited for year 2, Sammy. It's interesting. There's people who they're embarking on their 3rd tour, but this is their first full world tour, in the sense that the Firefighters played an abbreviated schedule in 24 and 25. The Tailgaters, we obviously played an abbreviated schedule last year, but now all 6 teams have 61 games, and it's really cool that we're starting this weekend, last weekend of February in Tallahassee, and we're not going to finish until October. So, and with only about, I think, 3 built-in off weekends and a rain rescheduled weekend, so 4 off weekends, if you will. So the excitement, man, is palpitating. I'm so excited. I'm so excited to meet a lot of the folks that I haven't gotten to meet. I'm excited to interact with the people in the chat that always seem to be there on our broadcast. Don't think I forgot about you guys, and really hope that inevitably, man. I hope the Tailgaters win the championship, obviously, but I'm just excited for this year and the league and the excitement of the league and what I perceive to be the parity of the league to begin. And it all unravels tomorrow night. So were there any questions that we didn't get to in the chat that they might have had?
Let's see. All right.
Check it out there. I should have had it pulled up myself, but unfortunately
you pretty much covered. So I'll just throw some up and see if you want to add anything else. So Thomas Gon Air says, is there a new stop? Okay, this one you didn't touch. Is there a new stop on the schedule this year that you're excited about, one that feels a little extra special?
Well, I think the obvious answer, and every guy has mentioned it pretty much for the Tailgaters, is 104,000 people College Station. That's the biggest Banana Ball game of all time. And not only that, it's a home game for us. So it'll be our entertainment show, and it'll be, everything that entails in a Texas Tailgater home game. It'll be a home game for the Tailgaters. So I think that's a pretty neat deal to say that as a second-year brand, we will be the home game of the largest Banana Ball game of all time. On a personal level, for me, Spartanburg, South Carolina is going to be a big one for me. I was born in Spartanburg Regional Hospital, about 3 minutes away from Fifth Third Bank Ballpark.
Amazing.
Literally could walk there. So, and it's also right next door, literally 500 feet. The medical campus is from Wofford College's campus, which is where Jesse Cole played college baseball and went to college at. So Spartanburg, South Carolina is, man, that's going to be a special one. And then the fact that we're playing the Clowns there, and Jackie Bradley Jr. is returning back to the upstate as well, that weekend all-encompassing is just going to be so cool. I want to have all the Tailgaters over to my childhood home, which is about 25 minutes away from the ballpark itself. So, that's going to be, for me, a really, really, really neat deal. So those would be the 2 answers I'd have for that.
And also Scottsdale, right? Because me and Brandon will be there.
100%. I'm excited about that, and I'm excited to see you guys. Obviously, any chance to get to see you guys. I've talked to you a lot virtually over the past 4 months, but I hadn't seen you guys since Frisco. I'm excited to go back to Frisco next weekend as well. I'm excited to see you guys in Arizona. I've never been to state of Arizona. I've been pretty well traveled. I think I've been to 40 of the 50 states, if not more. I think I've been to somewhere between 38 and 40 states. I've been to almost every state. And that'll check another one off the list when we go to Scottsdale. So I'm really excited about that.
There you go. It's a good place. I've never been to that ballpark, so I'm excited to go. A little bummed that there's only one in Arizona this year, but super excited for that one nonetheless. So, all right, let's get to some of these other ones. We talked a lot about the rules, but let's see if you want to add anything else. What does Brett like most about the new rules?
No more showdown chase. Point blank. That's just. I can speak for myself, but I think I can speak for a large part of our fan base to say everybody wants to see the game end with contact on banana ball. And now in showdowns, when we have the walk-offs, more times than not, that's what you're going to see. Whether it results in an out or it results in a walk-off hit, right? Like you're going to see contact on banana ball, and that's how the games are going to conclude now in showdowns. So that's what I'm most excited about for 2026.
Yeah, I'm so excited about that as well. The ball four chase already and the ball four sprint in general already incentivizes pitchers to throw over the plate so much,
Mm-hmm.
and so that's why you see so much action in banana ball. But I think that this just levels that up to where in the event that a pitcher does throw 4 balls, it's not going to be the most anticlimactic ending of a showdown game, and so it's gonna extend the game out, make sure that the game ends the best way that it possibly can. So I totally agree with that. All right, you touched on a ton of players, but if you want to add a little bit more here, Thomas Gonair says, how do you believe the Banana Ball draft has and will shape this 2026 season of Banana Ball? Which new players from the draft are you looking forward to watching?
I think out of all the guys that obviously all the guys that I mentioned already, but I'd say Ben Parker is probably the one guy that I didn't mention that I'm looking forward to the most. Obviously, all my guys, right? Like I think Jordan Barth, if I had to choose one position player for us, it would be Jordan Barth, and I kind of knew that coming in. He's going to be stupid good defensively, and he's hit 3 home runs in spring training, or 2 home runs, in spring training. But I would say Ben Parker if I had to choose a guy on one of the other 5 teams. I'm very excited about him. Obviously, he's a bodybuilder, which is crazy enough, right? But Ben just has these gigantic muscles, and he runs like a deer. He's stupid good center fielder. And obviously, he's got the muscles, but he also has the swing to back it up. He hits banana balls so far. He hit one out of Grayson Stadium in a scrimmage a few weeks ago. That was one of my favorite moments of spring training that I got to be on the call for. So, Ben Parker, I'm really excited to watch him in 2026, amongst all the other guys that we discussed on the podcast.
Yeah, we had him on, and he's such a great guy. Excited to see him. So this is kind of the same. Jonathan Huntley asks, what new players will you surprise us? So yeah, we can keep going. Let's see. Renee asks, Brett, how did you get into broadcasting and land in Banana Ball?
That's a good question. Have I ever told you guys this story, Sam? I
think so. We had some podcasts with just you, but there's probably a lot of people on here that haven't heard it. So go for it.
I didn't know if I'd ever even. The reason I asked, not that I wasn't going to tell it, I just didn't know if I'd ever told you guys or not. So I've been wanting to get into broadcast. I was 4 years old. Known that's what I want to do for pretty much my whole life. I'll be 25 in May, so for over 20 years now, I've known I wanted to be a sports broadcaster. Went to a small school in Northeast Georgia, a Division III school called Piedmont University. Was blessed enough to be the play-by-play guy, the voice of the school all 3 years as a student, which was just a crazy blessing looking back on it. You don't get that anywhere, right? And got that, graduated college at 20, went and broadcast in the Northwoods League, which similarly to the Coastal Plain League, which the Savannah Bananas used to be in. It's a summer wood bat college league. And so I was in the Northwoods League, was in Wisconsin Rapids for summer. Went from there, worked for a network in North Dakota called Beck TV, and was up there for nearly 2 years. Moved back down to the Southeast and freelance for Fox Sports Radio and ESPN for about 8-9 months. And then December of 2024, I'm a part of the Sportscasters Talent Agency of America, which is ran by John Chalesnik. John just put out a filler on our job board and was like, hey, man, looking for a young, enthusiastic, over-the-top broadcaster. And so a guy that I had worked with in North Dakota got on there and said, this sounds a lot like Brett Loftis. Did not mention anything of the Bananas or Banana Ball or anything like that. And so John texted me He's like, hey, this was an application to become a broadcast entertainer for the Texas Tailgaters. Or, excuse me, not for the Texas Tailgaters, for the Savannah Bananas. And so I had no idea a team that I was applying for. So that was ironically enough. And so I put on a cowboy hat in my audition tape and did it, and had a phone call or a Zoom meeting with Jesse Cole and Yvonne Trezak in February of 2025. And then they told me what they kind of envisioned me with the Tailgaters, and then they wanted me to come on a test drive. And so I came to Savannah my first weekend of March of last year, roughly around this time last year. It was a Party Animals Banana Series, and came down here, did a test drive, and basically just an in-person weekend interview. Kind of they're getting to know me, all that good stuff. And they go to Tampa Bay the next weekend, playing the first football stadium. They get back from there, and then Wednesday after Tampa Bay, I get a call and get a contract sent over to me, and moved down here last April and hit the ground running. So it's kind of the spark notes of my journey to Banana Land. So.
Yeah, and I think you did tell an extended version of that a little bit on. I want to tell people where to find it. I'm pretty sure it was our pre-recorded interview with you that we had in December. So if you guys go and find it in our videos, you can hear that whole story there. But the thing that just blows my mind is how how quickly it feels like you've been in banana ball forever at this point, because of how much has changed since April, and so now you're someone that's been here for way longer than some of the other things. So pretty cool. So we had another the Sing and Smash wanted to ask this. I think you can kind of clarify the broadcast here a little bit. Will Brett and Drake be fixed partners going forward, or still shifting around each week?
Yeah, great question. So it will be based on the two teams that are playing. So obviously Biko and Josh are primarily tied to the Bananas, Drake the Party Animals, Zach Staten with the Firefighters, myself with the Tailgaters, AJ Swiatek with the Coconuts. So we will be working with, if it's like when you go to Frisco, it'll be Tailgaters, Coconuts, AJ and myself will be on the call for that. This weekend at Tallahassee, Biko and Josh will be in the booth, and I will be doing sidelines. So obviously you play the Party Animals. Drake and I will be in the booth, and we'll have fun times like we had last year. But the broadcasting booths will pretty much be tied to the two teams and their respective broadcast entertainers. Will kind of how that's looking, at least to start the year. And for our home games, look a little bit different, but once we get down the line, we'll talk about that a little bit more. And when I say our home games, I mean our home games against the Bananas. Obviously, we're not the home team on Saturday, so it's a little bit of a different deal.
Yeah, makes sense. All right, we got one more here. Someone had a question about a specific player that they wanted to get your take on. Okay. So DM Hoyt 41 says, ask him what he thinks about Ashby Vining of the Loco Beach Coconuts. Great guy.
Yeah, he's a great catcher, man. Obviously, we got to see him with the Visitors last year. He's not disappointed in spring training. He's hit 2 home runs already in spring training. He's an electric personality. One of my favorite Ashby stories, we're on the boat, and he and I are goofing around on the pool deck, and all of a sudden, he grabs me, and we start doing a Congo line, and we end up getting like a 45-person Congo line, and we go around the entire pool deck. And so he's a great dude. Obviously, he hits banana balls a long ways. He's a really good defensive catcher, and I think he's a great ambassador for that Coconuts brand. I think the same way that Nick Wilson will be a first-year ambassador for that Clowns brand and for the Indianapolis Clowns. I think Ashby Vining will be much of the same for the Loco Beach Coconuts. And I think Mark Krocko, obviously, he's a guy that he coached last year with the Visitors. I think that obviously played a big factor into it as well. But, yeah, love me some Ashby Vining, man. He's going to be in the Rookie of the Year conversation, that's for sure. For sure.
He's awesome. All right, I just want to throw this one up just for you. Ramos says, have a great opening weekend, Brett. Gator up.
Gator up, man. Gator up. Hopefully we'll be able to gator up over the Savannah Bananas. Really hope we can get a win to open up the year. That'd be really cool to win our first game in a football stadium. Obviously not the first game for the Bananas, nor the first game for Banana Ball in a football stadium, but for the Texas Tailgaters and our short history would be a really, really neat deal to win our first football stadium.
Yeah, I'm excited for that. I'll be rooting for the Tailgaters. Brandon will be rooting for the Bananas though. But it is what it is.
I get it.
All right. Well, Brett, thank you so much for joining me today. It's always a blast talking to you. Really appreciate it. Really appreciate all the support that you've given us over the year or so that we've been doing this. And can't wait to see you this weekend. Not see you in person, sadly, but watch you this weekend. Super excited.
I'm excited, man. Excited to talk to all you guys from Tallahassee and then Frisco after that, and then wherever else we're going. Because 45 states for Banana Ball this year, man. We're getting to go everywhere. And I think our broadcast is going to be good as ever, and I think those Texas Tailgaters are going to be pretty good too. So thank you for having me on, Sammy. Brandon, I know you're watching, man. Hope everything's good with you, and hope everything's good with everything at home and with your wife, and I hope to get to meet the little nieces and nephews here soon. So I'm really looking forward to that, man. But yeah, Sammy, appreciate you having me on, man, and looking forward to seeing you guys in Arizona in about a month or so. Yeah,
I think so.
Too long. Yeah, not too long. So, but appreciate you, man.
Yeah, thanks. Have a good one.
Yes, sir. You too.
Gator up. All right. Thank you guys for joining today. I'm just gonna go over a couple chats before I log off. I've been on for a while here. Here we go. Just gonna adjust here. I'm gonna go over some comments. So yeah, we got thank you, Brett. Yeah, Brett was awesome. This was so fun. Getting to hear some of those stories. Probably my favorite story that he told was that story with Jackie Bradley Jr. and how he just had dinner with him and his family. That guy is just awesome. And I can't wait to see him play. And he's just everything that Banana Ball is about. He embodies, and so it's cool to have him there. So just to answer some of these questions here. Jam Powers 83. Did preseason games start yet, or do they start tomorrow? So they're calling it kind of like the preseason for the games before the Banana Ball Open. So those games will start tomorrow. But the spring training type games, the secret peel games, those have happened. The scrimmages no one had access to during the spring training. Those but we got to see some videos of trick plays and stuff. But the secret peel games, K Club members were able to watch. So those games already happened. But the season starts tomorrow. It's kind of like a preseason until the Banana Ball Open, and then it just kind of a ramp up there. But the games still count, right? It's not just like a preseason where these are exhibition games. All of these games will count for standings. And can't wait. So yeah, those games start tomorrow, and I'm looking forward to it. I can't wait. It's going to be awesome. Let's see. I'm going to throw a couple more here. Let's see. Oh, this is awesome. Cheering for Jason and his American Idol journey from here in the Philippines. Oh, that's so cool. Thank you for coming from the Philippines. And yeah, his American Idol journey is awesome. All right. Anne Marie says, hello from New Zealand, having a fun vacation, but low key ready to get back stateside to watch the games in real time. I hope you're having a blast in New Zealand. That's awesome. That's on my bucket list. I've never been there. All right. Oh, this is awesome. I want to throw this out here. Jonathan Huntley, he says, want to share with the chat that Fantasy Banana Ball is now live. I just want to give a quick shout out to Jonathan. I've talked with him. He's a huge Banana Ball fan and also super smart. he's created a fantasy banana ball league and game that he's shown me and Brandon. And it's super cool. Anyone that likes fantasy sports, he's kind of made it so, stats from players, get put into the website that he's built, the app that he's built, to make a fantasy league. So you can draft players. It's kind of like a redraft league per week. So you get players there. It's really cool. Me and Brandon have looked at it. Jonathan's a great guy, and yeah, so it's really cool. If you're interested, you can look it up. And yes, it's free. Yeah. Jonathan says it's free. So yeah, really cool. I just wanted to highlight that because this community is so cool. Me and Brandon weren't involved in that, but Jonathan emailed us and we chatted with him. He just wanted to show us, and so it's just really cool to just what this community is all about. We're just coming together because we love banana ball, and so he's created something. He told us that me and Brandon decided, no one's doing a podcast, why not us? So we just decided to do it, and he thought the same thing about fantasy banana ball. He was like, no one's done it yet, why not me? He has the skills, and so he kind of built the thing. So he says he's struggling to send the link. So I don't know if links can't be sent out in a YouTube chat or not. But yeah, so I'll talk to Jonathan. We can figure out how to, if anyone's interested, we can send something like that out. It sounds like a cool thing. So just wanted to give him a shout out just because this community is so cool. He says it's called Fantasy Banana Ball. So anyway, this community is awesome. So we just love anyone that loves banana ball. We love to hear your ideas on things. And so, like we've said before, comment on things, message us on Instagram, email us, bananabreakdownpodcast@gmail.com. Any questions or any cool experiences, fans' first experiences, things like that. We love to hear your stories. We love banana ball. And we're going to be covering this league all season long. We cannot wait for these games to start this weekend. Next week, we're going to be recapping. We're going to do a live stream next week. We're not doing any post-game live streams this weekend. Eventually, we're going to do some post-game live streams. We're families are growing, so we're kind of busy right now. So we won't do something this weekend, but eventually down the road, we're going to be doing some post-game live streams. But next week, we'll do a live stream, just, our Wednesday live stream to talk about the weekend, and then, go in and talk about some future games. So you're not going to want to miss it. Make sure to subscribe, like, all that good stuff. Really appreciate all of the support. Yeah, Jonathan says that you can Google Fantasy Banana Ball. So just wanted to throw that out there. But thank you guys again for the support. We couldn't do this without you. And yeah, so it was so fun talking to Brett today. Thank you for everyone for joining in, even though I was solo today. You guys were kind of stuck with me. But I had a lot of fun. It was cool, but I can't wait to talk with Brandon next week. It'll be awesome. So thanks again, and I'm just gonna log off now, but go party animals. Yep, that's all I want to say there. Brandon isn't here to say anything else, so go party animals. Thanks, guys.